Hi, Murph here, Sonic State and Amped. Today we're looking at the Roland G-5 guitar. Essentially it's a modelling guitar with obviously a classic Strat design, and at the moment we're dialed into normal, which just plays as a Strat. All your classic kind of Strat tones. It's a Mexican Strat, and generally you kind of feel like it hasn't got the quality of a USA Strat, I'd say, but it's still a nice guitar. The neck's got a nice feel. It didn't come with the greatest setup, so we've got a few buzzers, but you know, it's an okay guitar. So this is Roland's COSM modelling technology, composite object sound modelling, and basically. We've got all these settings here on these two controls. This one controls the different types of guitar. So we've got a normal, and we've got Strat, T for tele, H for humbucking, A for acoustic. When we're in acoustic mode, the 5-way switch comes into play with a steel string, a resonator, a nylon string, a sitar, and a jazz semi-acoustic. Here's the pickup. And all the electronics are in there, and a battery which runs the whole thing. So, and you've got to unplug when you finish playing because the battery runs out pretty quick, which I've done a couple of times. It'll get you through a gig though, right? It'll get you through a gig, yeah. From normal Strat sound, we'll go on to here. You can hear the buzz, which is like a classic symptom of a Stratocaster. And there we go. It's gone. But you still got the same frequencies. So that's a virtual Strat, and it's kind of like a bit more volume and buzz. Okay? Yep. And we'll move on to the Telecaster, and just for the classic kind of Telecaster sound, I'm going to move into the middle. That sounds pretty good, Tele-wise, right? Yeah, it's got that kind of classic honk kind of thing going on. Yeah, I think it's pretty authentic. And
you play a Telecaster though, right?
Yes, yeah, I do.
So what's the scoop, really?
It's got a tele sound.
Okay.
It's got a tele sound. I mean, would you have a Telecaster? Yes, you would. But this is about something else. This is having, you know, lots of things in one body. So, so no, it doesn't come up to scratch with you know, with a real nice Telecaster, but it gives you a tele sound, which is the object of the guitar, I think. So, and we've got the kind of variations on that. We can get a much more honky. And now we'll move on to H.
Humbucking.
Humbucking. And we're going to go again into the middle.
Is this trying to be a bit more like Les Paul-like?
Yes, yeah. So. Into the front pickup.
And again, you've got a Les Paul.
Yeah, and you know, it's not a Les Paul.
But does it give you enough output to kind of get some drive?
No, I think it could do with a little bit more. So I think the deal with this is, if you can set up different patches, say on a multi-effects unit, or with pedals relating to the various sounds, you can get something like a Les Paul. But I think you've got to work at each sound, and that applies to the acoustic sounds as well. So now we're moving on to the acoustic setting, and like I said, the 5-way switch comes into play, and on the back selector we've got a steel string. It does a job, doesn't it? Definitely.
It's kind of weird not hearing the body of the instrument actually in the room.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and it's kind of funny not having it there as well. So, I mean, that's another thing. I think you know, obviously you play an acoustic differently to how you play. You'd have heavier strings, so it's just something you've got to suss it out for yourself, you know.
And it's worth saying, we did have to work on a patch to get the sound, you know, to recognise it a bit more like.
Yeah, exactly. Just as we were saying earlier, I think that's what you've got to do, you know, to get more out of the sounds, more out of it being a steel string or a Gibson.
So this is all coming from this MIDI pickup is kind of triggering these COSM sounds. What's the tracking like?
The tracking's great. The tracking's really good. Yeah, I mean, I've not noticed anything. There are a couple of other settings which we'll look at in a minute, and you might notice something there, but generally it's pretty good. It's pretty good. On the next setting, we've got a resonator, and here these are the alternate tunings. So I can go from normal, and I can drop this E string down to a D. And also we've got an open G tuning, an open D tuning, a B tuning, and a 12 string. Pretty cool, yeah. If we go into the open G tuning, which is Keith Richards' kind of classic tuning that he used, and we'll go on to a Strat sound. There you go.
Excellent. So when your fingers get all arthritic-y like Keith's, you'll be able to.
That's right. Yeah. But I mean, that's pretty cool. I think, you know, just to dial it up and be straight into that.
Oh, impressive.
It's pretty good, eh? So going back to the acoustic settings, we're going to look at the middle selector, and this gives us a nylon string. I mean, nylon string's such a massive, you know, variations. The variations you can get from a nylon strings are huge. So this is just one thing, and you know, I think it could do a job.
It's got that sort of thud to it.
Yes, it's got something, hasn't it? You know. But I think it kind of, there you go, kind of lacks.
Right at the top, it doesn't quite.
Now I'm just gonna put into, just drop the D, and just add a little bit of delay, and That's great.
That's vibey, isn't it?
Yeah, really nice. And then moving on to the front selector, which is a jazz.
Sort of thing.
I think it's supposed to be like a semi-acoustic. Yeah, I can roll some tone off.
Yeah, that sounds like it's pretty spot on with the tracking, right?
Yeah, tracking's great. There we go. That's all the acoustic guitars. Like I said, we've got a drop D. We've got the open G tuning. We've got an open D tuning, and we've got a B.
Oh, like baritone.
A baritone.
Oh, nice.
So it's. Yeah.
And I guess you can do all that kind of surf twangy guitar stuff with it as well.
I think, you know, I think this kind of thing, you can really experiment with it and get some great sounds and great, you know, just find new shapes with it.
Is there a kind of 12 strings detune setting as well?
Yeah, here's a 12 string. That's on a Strat sound, yeah.
That's quite nice actually. It's not one you'd hear before, but sort of birdsy.
Birdsy, exactly.
So how much is it?
It's $12,350 street price.
It seems like a lot. I mean, is it a lot?
It is quite expensive. If you compare it to the Line 6, I think the Line 6 have upped their game as far as the quality of the guitar goes. And this guitar is a low budget Stratocaster, and I've seen better and played better Strats. But you could set it up and be happy with it.
And it is a Fender.
And it is a Fender. And essentially, if you want a Strat, then you're not going to get that from a Line 6 or any other guitar. You know, this does that Strat thing. So, so that, along with all the other options of 5 different acoustic sounds, a 12-string sound, the drop D, the drop G. There's a lot of options there. So if you want one guitar to do a lot of things, this is the one.